You guys, we got some interesting things to talk about. I got a lot of videos, updated videos, and man, it's going to spread. This is going to be big time. You guys know we have two Hantavirus, that rat virus in Atlanta. They have it. There's a lot of people that socialize in Atlanta. Atlanta known as a party city. It's also known as the city of the HIV city, and it stays passing. So if you need a virus that's going to pass, you're going to go to Atlanta. So they already in Atlanta. And you guys know in a couple of weeks, they're going to have the World Cup in Atlanta. So that is just a big plan just to push this thing on through. Well, a lot of them are saying, you got to be very close in order to catch it. Close meaning 6 feet. When they say you got to be very close, I'm thinking you got to hug them. Like you got to be up and close and intimate. No, all it takes is 6 feet. So you can be 5 foot, 4 foot, 2 feet away. I mean, that's at the grocery store. We're not 6 feet apart at the grocery store. If you're standing in lines at the airplane, if you're on the airplane sitting next to someone, longer than 15 minutes, they said if it's longer than 15 minutes, 15 minutes is the time, 15 minutes, that's when you can get it. 6 feet. So if you're 6 feet away from somebody and in 15 minutes you're standing there, you are liable to get it, because it's airborne. You breathe in what they breathing in, you're going to catch it. If somebody lives in their home by themselves and they've been breathing all them toxics, and say, for instance, if they have that stuff and they're breathing in and out, I'm sure the house is filled with their air, with their infection. So anybody that entered the house is going to be able to get it, because it's filled with infection. So I want you guys to watch these videos. We do have some doctors as well. And I just want to say thank you all for the supporting this channel, Deep NOIR News. I appreciate it. I am your host, Gigi Medici, and I'm working hard to try to find out good information and push this thing out. All right, so let's watch the clips and see what's going on, and make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And I love your comments, so keep them coming.
Here are 4 things for your hantavirus update on May 12th. I'm Dr. Terry Simpson. If you like this information, give me a follow. Number 1, in an update, 1 more person on the ship has turned positive, patient from Spain. Number 2, when you hear about close contact on a ship, you really need to know what the definition is. Close contact on the ship includes medical personnel dealing with people, cabin mates, stewards who take care of them, but also if you are within 6 feet of an individual for 15 minutes in a 24-hour period, that's considered close contact. Number 3, while the genome of the hantavirus that has infected these people has been determined, and there is indeed a mutation there, nobody can tell you what that mutation means. Someone saying 99% of the DNA is equal or the sequence is equal means nothing. It can be a very significant or insignificant mutation. We won't know what it means for months. We simply know there's a difference. And finally, we are woefully unprepared for a pandemic, which is not a matter of if it's going to come, but when. It probably is not this outbreak. We have lost 2,600 members of the CDC. We have disassociated ourselves from the World Health Organization. Think about those as you will, but I want you to consider this. Without the integration with the rest of the world, without CDC members being able to quickly launch and go to areas like this ship or like other places where there are little outbreaks, we are unprepared. When you consider that in all of the wars of the world, what has killed more service members and more civilians than anybody? It is always a virus or a microbe. We need to think about the WHO and the CDC as matters of defense, not as matters of health. So that's your update for today. If you like this information, give me a follow.
Just hypothetically, if hantavirus, if it spreads, are we prepared?
Well, that's a really good question. And I'd actually say the answer is no, we are not. We have had so much work that we did on building up surveillance to look for new disease outbreaks. We're pulling all that down. We've stopped investing in vaccines and treatments. That's a problem. So we got to get our act together and get prepared, because if it's not Hanta, it's going to be something else down the road, and we should be much more prepared than we are.
And is there anything else you'd like to say to put people out there at ease?
Well, look, what I would say is, I know it's scary. cruise ship kind of reminds us of the early days of COVID. This is not COVID. We're going to get this under control, but we should be vigilant because we now live in a world where disease outbreaks that happen in one place become global quickly, and we got to have the system to manage all that.
Absolutely. Dr. Jha, thank you.
Hantavirus will spread. It absolutely will get worse. We are underprepared, we are underwarned, and we are under-resourced. You've heard of this cruise ship. It docks in Spain on Monday. 3 have already passed. 5 are confirmed sick. Dozens, potentially carrying a virus that we know spread person to person, are jumping off a cruise ship in just a few days. That has happened before exactly once in recorded history. I'm Rick Pescator. I'm an ER doctor, former state chief physician. I'm the editor-in-chief of Emergency Medicine News. I helped lead the national COVID response, both its wins and its failures. 30 passengers have already gotten off this boat. 6 are in California and Georgia and Arizona for a virus that hides in the body for up to a month and a half. We may not know who's infected until June. We didn't learn shit from the pandemic. We didn't build the system that's supposed to catch this. We took it apart. Every ER doctor in the country is supposed to get an alert when this happens. It's called a HAN, a Health Alert Network. But no alert has been sent. In March, the CDC quietly paused 20 tests for rare viruses. They've lost 3,000 employees. The disease detectives who are trained specifically for this, they're gone. We spent $1 trillion after COVID. We bought machines for viruses we already knew. We did not build what matters, the ability to make a new test fast when something shows up. There's a cruise ship right now in the Atlantic that's telling us that the lights are off at the CDC in Atlanta. This will spread, but we will find out late because the people who have been paid to watch have been told to shut up.
Is it time to panic now? Or at least one American has now tested positive for the virus they told us in the United States we were not going to have to worry about. The same virus they assured us was most definitely not transferred human to human. Except that this 70-year-old birdwatcher happened to visit the one landfill in Patagonia that is home to the one pygmy rat known to carry the human-to-human strain of this virus. He then got back on that cruise with his infected wife, and he was the first one to die from it. And now an American has tested positive who is currently in America. Remember how they said they were going to quarantine all these passengers who were from all over the world because 3 people passed away from this virus they said was not going to be a human-to-human born virus? Then they let these people off of the cruise and were like, no, these people are going to be like in Georgia because they're from Georgia. And the people were like, no, they're actually from Texas. They're going to be in Texas. Well, they're actually in Nebraska. And there's actually 15 people quarantined in Nebraska. But wait, it's actually 15 in quarantine plus the one who has now tested positive. Not anywhere near Nebraska, don't worry. They're now also letting us know out of this 16, there's also 2 other ones in Georgia who were actually on that cruise. And guess what, guys? At least one of them is showing symptoms. But don't worry, there's a very, very low chance. Not just low, not just very low, but very, very low. And that people are still getting despite every precaution being taken. There are now 2 people in Atlanta, 1 with symptoms, 16 in Nebraska, 1 testing positive. But don't worry, they're making sure it doesn't take up too much space in case the other passengers are needed to be moved to this from the more residential section. Don't worry, guys, because the CDC and their partners, they've got this, and they are going to continue to monitor these people for as long as it takes. Which they are now saying is a 42-day monitoring period. Just to put our little minds at ease, all 15 quarantined currently in Nebraska are in good spirits. So you guys just let me know when it's time to start panicking.
If you thought the hantavirus was weird, it's about to get even weirder. Not only did they decide to send the sick people all around the world on airplanes, the internet is going crazy again because another predicted Twitter post. This account, Soothsayer, posted on June 10th, 2022, Corona ends in 2023, 2026, hantavirus. He hasn't posted since 2022 and only had 3 other tweets. The best part, his bio reads the future. So with Hanta and all of this, I'm not an expert. I just like connecting things to the stock market because I follow the money, just like I did in 2020, 3 months before the lockdown. I don't think we're at that level yet, but if this news cycle continues, there is another play emerging that isn't a biotech stock since there's no direct exposure there. To some of you, this might be weird, thinking about profit when it comes to serious things, but like I even said in 2020, people have been doing this since the 90s, sadly. Even these plays I'm sharing with you today, every time there was a health freak out, they would move, and when everybody would calm down, they would go down heavy. They are the PPE protection wear stocks, APT and Lake. APT already went up over 37% today. Lake went up 12%. And I was talking about them at 7:40 a.m. this morning. That means you are not getting the best price. It just depends on what happens. I hope you're paying attention.
I would be worried because the incubation period for hantavirus can be up to a week, can be very deadly. It can either take the form of a pulmonary disease, so it affects your lungs and your breathing, or it can be a hemorrhagic disease, affects your renal function, your kidney function. Both can be, extraordinarily serious. It's not easily spread from person to person. The mode of transmission is really through exposure to the rodent droppings or their urine, or those droppings can be disturbed and they go in the air and you can breathe it in and get it. It's something that everyone who's in the area of a rat dropping could be exposed. The symptoms are depending upon what form you've got, the renal form or the pulmonary form. But if it's the pulmonary, it's difficulty breathing, for both fatigue, headache. It is a very dangerous situation for cruise ship passengers. I would be worried because the incubation period for hantavirus can be up to a week. It's possible that more cases will arise, and it's uncertain at this stage what preventive and precaution measures the cruise ship undertook. There's no antiviral or so-called cure, but you need really intense management of the disease. And so you have to get somebody into really intensive care quite quickly. This is something that really shouldn't happen on a properly sanitized and hygienic ship.
This is exactly why I told y'all that I was exceptionally concerned about this specific hantavirus outbreak. The World Health Organization has confirmed that the hantavirus strain in this cruise ship outbreak is the one that is spread from human to human contact, the Andes variant. As I mentioned in my initial video, the Andes variant is the only strain of hantavirus known to be spread from human to human contact. It is a strain found in South America, specifically Argentina. This cruise ship departed from South America, specifically Argentina. The Andes variant typically only spreads from human to human when there is prolonged close contact. On a cruise ship, you have prolonged close contact. I'm Dr. Frida. I'm going to give you some more details about this Andes variant of the hantavirus, and I'll answer the question, should we be scared? Is this likely to be another big lockdown like we saw with C-19 in 2020? 3 people have passed away from suspected hantavirus. Some cases have been confirmed. And now it has been reported that a passenger who was on that cruise ship but left to go home to Switzerland, he developed symptoms. Once he was home, he got tested. And so now we have another confirmed case of hantavirus. With the genetic sequencing, it has been confirmed that the variant is the Andes variant, which can be spread from human to human contact. It is true that most are not spread from human to human contact, but this particular strand is spread from close, prolonged human to human contact. Here's the tricky part. The incubation of this hantavirus is anywhere from 1 week to 8 weeks. So just like that one Swiss man did not have symptoms, it can take weeks before you have symptoms. This is the conundrum for the people who are still on the cruise ship. Even if they're asymptomatic, it can take up to 8 weeks to know if they are truly infected or not. And the problem with hantavirus is that there is no treatment, no cure, and the fatality rate for this specific strain is up to 40%. The 70-year-old Dutch man passed away. The Dutch man's 69-year-old wife, she reportedly collapsed at a South Africa airport, and then she passed away. And here's the thing, who all did she come into contact with at the airport? Same thing with the Swiss man. With whom did he come into contact? So now, should we all be freaking out? No. The Andes variant of hantavirus does not spread as easily as COVID, and you need close, prolonged contact. If you enjoy evidence-based medical information like this is what I do. So please give me a follow and subscribe.
I don't want Atlanta to panic, but 2 people that were on that flight to go to Nebraska to be quarantined with the hantavirus are now in Atlanta at Emory Hospital. Now, I do not want y'all to get this confused with the other 2 people that returned to Georgia. Those 2 are separate. They came in the first batch. These people were supposed to go to Nebraska to be monitored. Now, these 2 patients did test positive for the hantavirus. And according to Georgia Department of Human Health Services, they're being treated by the Serious Communicable Disease Unit. That don't sound too comforting. I know it can get a little confusing. So here's a quick recap for America. We had 7 return. They all went to certain states: California, Arizona, Texas, Virginia, and Georgia. The group of 18 people that were headed to Nebraska, they're asymptomatic and low risk monitoring cases. So that's why the other 2 got separated and sent to Atlanta. Now, Wigs R Us is saying that we're still not in pandemic status and this virus is still hard to transfer from person to person. I'm still trying to figure out if the people in Georgia have the Andes strand, because some are reporting it and some are not. All I know is y'all hoes in Emory better lock the fuck down. And this is perfect timing because FIFA's coming. Gonna be hundreds of thousands of people trying to get through Atlanta.
Hey, it's me, Dr. Frida, and I have a quick update for you on the 2 Atlanta passengers who were admitted to Emory. Now, from initial reporting, when those 2 passengers arrived at Emory, it was reported that they were hantavirus positive. Since then, we have updated information from the Department of HHS. In fact, they posted on X just today that one of the patients who was symptomatic has tested negative for hantavirus, and the other patient who was a close contact to the symptomatic patient is still asymptomatic. Okay, so that is the most recent information. As far as the other passengers, we know that there were 18 passengers who arrived at Nebraska on Sunday. 17 Americans, 1 reportedly with dual citizenship, a British native. 16 of those patients remain in Nebraska, and as mentioned, 2 are here in Atlanta at Emory. Of those 16 patients, 1 of them did test positive for hantavirus and reportedly is still asymptomatic. In fact, reportedly, all 16 of the patients in Nebraska are still asymptomatic. That's the update. And I've been getting so many questions about hantavirus that I'm actually going to do a special live on my @Dr.Frida channel. And it will be on Wednesday at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring your questions. I'll answer all questions hantavirus. We'll talk about the different strains, the different types, the updates on these cases, how it's spread, how to properly clean up after rodents. Please make sure you give me a subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss it.
And I'll just say this, as a nurse, if there is another global pandemic, I will be letting my license expire because you motherfuckers don't listen. You don't listen. You don't follow the rules. And you know what? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I will not be getting fooled twice. Because how the hell did we go from being a healthcare hero to non-essential? In like 5 years, the whiplash, insane. Will not be doing it again. Thank you.